My name is Stephany. I'm the head of service provider partnerships. Really, that means anything to do with contractors is lands in my domain. I'm here having come from the contracting side of this world, understanding what it's like to use the tool and what it does for your business. I'm trying to make the compliance engine work better for our customers. I'm in a unique position here to represent the interests of the people that I was on the other end. And so I like being in a position here where I understand some of the constraints and some of the things that I would have liked to have seen in the compliance engine. And now I'm here to help and network with those contractors that are still in the field to better understand their needs and drive that change in the compliance engine. The entire industry is extremely complex, and splitting this into there's the jurisdictions, the challenge they have of something as simple as just creating a database of all of the properties and all of the fire protection systems within those properties in their jurisdiction. That in and of itself is a difficult task that I didn't quite appreciate as a contractor. We tend to deal with the actual end user, the owners of the properties, and for them this is an ever-changing target with people moving in, moving out, buildings being demolished or built, and I didn't properly appreciate how difficult it was for them. Being able to, like I said, come over here and actually change some of the things that, I would have liked to have seen change that would make life easier for the contractors is really something that I'm proud to be able to work on. And in that end, we're starting to roll out a new product called the Compliance Sync. And really what that's meant to do is eliminate the administrative burden that, it requires to get these reports in the system. It was certainly a function within my business. And a couple of our admins had a lot of work to do to get that in on a daily basis, and ultimately it's good for our business and we were happy to do it. But if I could have displaced that to a team of experts within the compliance engine, I would have been happy to do so. So being able to drive that change and help these contractors has been meaningful. My vision here is contractors will not need to log in to the compliance engine to submit reports. There will be a streamlined process that creates absolutely no administrative burden for them, but they still get to reap the rewards of the compliance engine and everything it can do for their business. Being a service provider that used this software every day, all day, we would submit hundreds of reports, and really understanding what parts of the platform worked and what parts, created some friction on our end. I think it's a perspective that it's hard to get while you actually work inside of a company, especially, a software company. I think generally you're pretty far removed from the daily reality of what it's like to be a contractor. Every day, I say, it's difficult, it's tough work every day. Your plan always goes sideways, and it's hard to absorb the administrative functions on top of all of that chaos. I think that certainly informs my understanding of what it's like to be a contractor in the modern day, and I think that lends well to everything I'm trying to do here. Largely, the compliance engine is a force for good for contractors. I had noticed in my business when the compliance engine would proliferate into a jurisdiction, we would start to notice that, for example, our repair approval rates would increase greatly. I would have some markets where that would be 2 or 3x what they were prior, making no changes to our sales team or anything like that. While you're reaping a lot of the rewards of the compliance engine coming into these markets, it did create some work on the side of the contractor. You need to manage and organize what jurisdictions use it, what reports do you need to submit based on system type, and that's not a small task for especially a smaller shop like ours. Compliance Sync is meant to solve that problem. At the end of the day, what the customer wants is to press a button and get these reports in the system. And the jurisdiction wants the same. They want to eliminate that administrative burden just as much as the contractors do. And that's exactly what Compliance Sync does. Compliance Sync we're building a way for the contractors to simply email us the reports, and soon, they're to integrate with these software companies that are going to allow them to submit with the click of a button. And I think that all of the positive, all of the benefits that these contractors get, I think are going to be even easier once you can just press a button and submit the report. So we're excited to roll that out this year, and we think it's going to be a big hit with contractors. And the way I see this work is I think over the next 5, 10, 15 years, every single jurisdiction will use a solution like the compliance engine. And so this will just be the standard case. This is the way that all reports are going to be ingested. This is the way that they're going to organize and manage all of their compliance systems beyond fire and life safety, whether it be water or elevators or you name it. And so I think this really represents a new normal, and this is going to be, just as normal as emailing a jurisdiction. You're going to be using a platform like the compliance engine. And I think, paired with something like Compliance Sync to make it easy and painless to get reports in the system is going to be that next step to really proliferate across the country.